board the Southwest train service to Exeter St David's, calling at Woking, Basingstoke, Andover, Salisbury, Tisbury, Gillingham, Temple Combe, Sherborne, Yeovil Junction, Crewkerne, Axminster, Honiton, Wimple, Pinhoe, Exeter Central and Exeter St David's. The next station is Woking. This is Woking. This train is for Exeter St David's. The next station is Basingstoke.
strawberries, 2 for £1. English cauliflower, 2 for £1.
Sorry? No, you're Welsh. You are, you're born in Wales. You was born in Wales.
Welsh, like mummy.
But I hope the man up.
So you don't look around at the people.
Nice lady.
This one give you 6 litres, another 18. And then there's a stretchy one. Oh, sorry.
Dios, esas campanas. Ya es suficiente, ¿no? Information station.
Down here.
see the new red brick building here on our left and the bus garage on our right, this is the area where Anna Valley Motors was based. This company was to become the sole producer of the wing leading-edge fuel tanks for photo reconnaissance Spitfires, as well as producing other components for the aircraft during World War II. During the Battle of Britain, concerted efforts were made by the Luftwaffe to destroy the main manufacturing plants near Southampton. In September 1940, both factories were completely destroyed. Fortunately for the future of the Spitfire, many of the production jigs and machine tools had already been relocated to Salisbury and some to Trowbridge. Interestingly, Salisbury was never bombed during the war, and when the conflict ended, speaking to the Luftwaffe pilots, we found out that they were under strict orders not to damage the cathedral, as its spire was used as a marker to navigate the south coast. Once they had found it, they could then use the roads and rivers to proceed on to their designated targets. We are now going to leave the city to get to St Paul's roundabout. Here at St Paul's we have the gallows, and where the last public hanging took place in Salisbury. The accused was a man who had allegedly murdered his wife. So on that note, we are going to leave the confines of the city and head north towards Stonehenge. We are now leaving the city outskirts, so let us tell you a little more about what you can expect when we reach Stonehenge and its history. The word henge defined means a circular enclosure, usually but not always with a bank outside the ditch. Here at Stonehenge, the ditch is indeed outside the bank. Stonehenge is one of the most famous World Heritage Sites and is the remains of a ring of standing stones set within earthworks. It is in the middle of the most dense complex of Neolithic and Bronze Age monuments in England, including several hundred burial mounds. Archaeologists believe it was built anywhere from 3000 BC to 2000 BC. The first monument consisted of a circular bank and ditch, measuring about 110 metres or 360 feet in diameter, with a large entrance to the northeast and a smaller one to the south. It stood in open grassland on a slightly sloping spot. The builders placed the bones of deer and oxen in the bottom of the ditch, which had been used for digging, as well as some worked flint tools. The bones were considerably older than the antler pits used to dig the ditch, and the people who buried them had looked after them for some time prior to burial. The ditch was continuous but had been dug in sections, like the ditches of the earlier causewayed enclosures in the area. The chalk dug from the ditch was piled up to form the bank. The first stage is dated to around 3100 BC, after which the ditch began to silt up naturally. Within the outer edge of the enclosed area is a circle of 56 pits, each about a metre or 3 foot 3 inches in diameter, known as the Aubrey Holes, after John Aubrey, the 17th century antiquarian who was thought to have first identified them. The pits may have contained standing timbers creating a timber circle, although there is no excavated evidence of them. Recent excavation has suggested that the Aubrey Holes may have originally been used to erect a bluestone circle. If this were the case, it would advance the earliest known stone structure of the monument by some 500 years. A small outer bank beyond the ditch could also date to this period. In 2012 and 13, a team of archaeologists led by Professor Mike Parker Pearson of the Riverside Project excavated more than 50,000 cremated bones of 63 individuals buried at Stonehenge. These remains had originally been buried individually in the Aubrey Holes. They were exhumed during a previous excavation conducted by William Hawley in 1920. As they had been considered unimportant by him, they were subsequently reinterred together in one hole, Aubrey Hole No. 7, in 1935. Radiocarbon dating of these remains has put the date of the site 500 years earlier than previously estimated, to around 3000 BC. It is thought that the bluestones came from the Preseli Mountains near Milford Haven in South Wales. They would have probably been put on rafts and taken up the Bath Avon. The bluestones weigh up to 4 after the first attempt at erecting Stonehenge had been abandoned. We won't tell you any more of the history because that may well spoil your visit, but we will tell you some other interesting facts and theories. The heel stone lies just outside the main entrance to the henge. It is a rough stone, 16 feet or 4.9 metres above ground, leaning inwards towards the stone circle. It has been known by many names in the past, including Friar's Heel and Sunstone. Today it is uniformly referred to as the heel stone. The name is not unique. There was a monolith with the same name recorded in the 19th century by antiquarian Charles Warren at Longbredy in Dorset. Throughout the 20th century, Stonehenge began to be revived as a place of religious significance, this time by adherents of neo-pagan and New Age beliefs, particularly the Neo-Druids. The first such Neo-Druidic group to make use of the megalithic monument was the Ancient Order of Druids, who performed a mass initiation ceremony there in August 1905, in which they admitted 259 new members into their organisation. This assembly was largely ridiculed in the press, who mocked the fact that the neo-Druids were dressed up in costumes consisting of white robes and fake beards. Between 1972 and 1984, Stonehenge was the site of the Stonehenge Free Festival, but after the Battle of the Beanfield in 1985, this use of the site was stopped for several years and ritual use of Stonehenge is now heavily restricted.
What did this landscape look like when Stonehenge was built? It actually looked quite similar to today. It was mostly open grassland used by prehistoric people to graze their hay.
we are still in this area and the images of the burial mounds are still fresh in our minds, this is a good time to tell you about the burial customs of the It is a replacement of an earlier statue of James I, who was popular in Salisbury because he granted the city its Charter of Incorporation in 1612. But even before this there had been a statue of Henry III, who had provided timber for the construction of the cathedral and who had been present at its consecration in 1258. This 14th century new gate once had a portcullis to protect the clergy from attacks. In the 1640s, during the English Civil War, the royal arms were torn down, but the Stuart Royal coat of arms was put back in place at the restoration of King Charles II in 1660. Visitors must leave by 11 p.m, or they will be locked in the close overnight. One of Salisbury Cathedral's most valuable possessions is an original copy of Magna Carta, which is on view in the Charter House. This document is a milestone in the history of democracy, boldly asserting the fundamental supremacy of the rule of law over the power of dictatorial kings. It is a precursor to the Great American Declaration of Independence, which was written 561 years later. Magna Carta is one of the most famous medieval documents in Europe, written just 5 years before Salisbury Cathedral was founded. There were originally 13 copies made, only 4 copies remain. The best one is here in Salisbury. There is one in the Cathedral, and the final 2 are in the British Library in London, but one of these is illegible owing to fire damage. The Salisbury copy is written on just one piece of vellum, 35.5 centimetres by 18.5 centimetres. Vellum is parchment made from the skin of calves or lambs. It is written in Latin with the letters and words placed very close together and with many traditional medieval abbreviations so as to save space. It is because of this that the translations you can read seem to be much longer than the original text. In earlier centuries, executions, hangings and burnings were carried out in public. One of the most famous executions was that of the Duke of Buckingham, friend turned enemy of King Richard III, who was executed in the courtyard, behind what is now the Debenham store in Bloomfield Road in 1483. Blue plaques are on the walls outside the store, which mark the spot where this execution took place. Over the centuries, countless mysterious happenings have occurred at this site. The most spectacular recent event took place in June 2002, when all the security alarms were set off and all the locked doors were flung wide open. The statue in the market square facing Debenhams is that of one of Salisbury's most remarkable citizens, Henry Fawcett, who lived from 1833 to 1884. He was a leading member of Gladstone's government and an innovative and successful Postmaster General, a remarkable achievement considering he was totally blind. He had lost his sight as a teenager in a shooting accident when he was shot by his own father. He completely revised the country's archaic postal system. He founded the parcel post, invented postal orders, began cheap telegrams and initiated the savings bank scheme. The statue looked directly across to the site of his father's draper's shop where he was born. We will stop here for those of you who wish to visit the city centre, the shops and the cathedral.